Today on Community Cooking, we have guest chef Jeff Lavia in the kitchen making a great farmer's market friendly menu. We're making roasted carrot and harissa soup with za'atar crouton and broccoli and cheddar soup in a bread bowl. We're cooking with some of the best chefs from right here in our own community, so grab a seat and get comfortable. We have another great meal for you. This is your Community Cooking. Hi, and welcome to Community Cooking. I'm your host, Maria Prekeges, and I'm always excited to have this character next to me in the kitchen, chef and caterer Jeff Lavia, and friend, welcome.
Hi, how are you?
I'm good. How was that intro for you?
That was good.
I love it. It's always so much fun when you come in. You make fabulous dishes.
Thank you.
And usually they're pretty healthy.
You know, I try. You have your indulgent side, but
Well, yeah.
we're celebrating the farmer's market, and that's pretty healthy.
Well, and let's talk about the two dishes. We're going to have a roasted corn soup, and then later on a broccoli and cheddar soup.
Yeah, so, you know,
You gotta
one
mix
pretty
it
healthy,
up.
one, you know, got a little cream, a little cheese.
It's all right. All in moderation. Well, let's talk first about the ingredients for the first soup.
Okay, for the first soup, we have some, I really wanted to celebrate some of the unsung heroes of the farmer's market.
That's why I love you. The unsung heroes.
You know, you walk past them all the time. They're the carrots, the onions, the broccoli, the things that are there year-round and might not be as attractive to you as the dino kale or something that's, you know, super seasonal. So I really want to do something that would celebrate things that you can find all around, but take them to that next level up.
Well, and I like soup any time of the year. Sometimes June here is June gloom, and it's a great time for soup. Sometimes December, so it's year-round here, and the vegetables are so great year-round.
Absolutely. So for our carrot soup, we have some onion, some garlic, obviously some carrots. We're going to make some of the Za'atar Croutons. We have some harissa here, which is it's a crushed pepper paste.
Okay.
It's mixed with garlic and herbs. It's a hot sauce. It's a condiment, but it has a lot of flavor. It has more flavor than a typical, you know, just vinegary hot sauce.
It smells really good.
Yeah, it's very pungent.
Oh, yeah, I like it.
It's one of my new favorite hot sauces.
Oh, well, and I love any sort of hot sauce,
Yeah,
so
I do too.
perfect.
And then we're going to make some of the Za'atar Croutons, which is a kind of a Middle Eastern spice blend. You know, it has basil, thyme, some sumac in there, some sesame seed.
You lost me at sumac, but I trust you.
And it's a really nice blend with the za'atar, the harissa, the carrots, and everything all together.
And very, not too much, but just enough to give a crouton a little bit of a punch.
Exactly, and you put all those things together and you have a really nice soup. A lot of flavor.
Well, as we like to say, let's get cooking. What do you want to start with?
Let's start with the onion.
And look, you always have the best presentation. It always looks so good. It tastes good.
You always eat with your eyes first, you know.
I know you do. I don't touch your chef knife. There we go.
grab
Look
one
at
of
that
these
bad
here.
boy. Good heavens.
And what's nice about the soups that we're doing today is they're blended.
Oh, easy.
So you don't have to worry about chopping everything perfectly because it's all going to get chewed up in the blender anyway.
Oh, I love it. Perfect, perfect. And of course, we do have some broth as well that we will add.
You're going to do some, and you can do chicken broth, you can do veggie broth, you know, whatever really works for you. I like chicken broth. I'm not a vegetarian, even though this, you know, can very easily become a vegetarian soup. Just use some veggie broth or whatever you like.
I got introduced to mushroom broth not too long ago too, which was interesting. I like it.
And it's really good to make risotto with mushroom broth.
Oh.
Instead of chicken broth, if you're going to make a nice mushroom risotto.
Oh, see what you learn here? You get these recipes and lots of ideas. So I hope you're all taking notes at home.
So we're just going to do a really easy rough chop on these onions here. Nothing spectacular, nothing that you have to work on these for so long they're going to make you cry.
Well, yeah, and thank you, because I cried just being here. We've cried before over onions.
Yes, we have.
We've teared up and streamed down our faces. We have fun here. It's
We
awesome.
do. Your food should be fun. You know, you can't take food that seriously.
No, and I think everyone, and this used to happen to me, I took it so seriously. I was always freaked out. Do we do this? Do I do that? I have to go exactly by the recipe. But, you know, as someone told me the other day, you can always order a pizza if it doesn't work out.
That's true. I mean, you can get pretty much anything delivered now.
Oh, yeah.
So I added about 2 tablespoons or so of olive oil to our pan here.
And the pan's already warm.
Yeah, nice heat there. Not super high, just a nice kind of medium heat.
And you don't heat the olive oil in the pan, you heat the pan first.
Correct.
Okay. That's something I never do, so I'm taking that note.
You know, if we were going to fry something or something like that, you would obviously heat the oil along with it. But to the onion, we're just going to add a few cloves of garlic here.
Smash and dash. That's what I call for garlic. Those are the cutest little heads of garlic.
Aren't they?
Not like the elephant garlic. That's the size of my noggin, but I love it.
So again, what's nice about these is that you don't really have to worry too much about, you know, getting perfect garlic.
Because you're going to put it in the blender.
Because you're going to put it in a blender. Those are always my favorite things.
See, and growing up, well, I shouldn't say that. After I was 21, I thought the blender was only good for blended drinks. And then the more I started cooking and hanging out with you, it was like, oh, it's for food and soups.
I use blender for, I mean, obviously for the blending of margaritas and things like that.
Yeah, that's where I was going.
But, you know, it's great for, I do a lot of marinades in my blender now.
Oh, really?
Yeah. You know, if I'm doing something like, you know, carne asada for tacos, instead of doing everything in big hunks, I figured, well, let's blend it all, because in that way everything gets more contact.
Oh, yeah. Oh, that's a great idea. You always have the good ones.
I've been using the blender quite a bit lately. You know, you always find those new, it's kind of like the unsung heroes of the farmer's market. You're always finding the new unsung kitchen appliance.
The unsung heroes of the farmer's market. That's going to be trending soon, I'm sure.
Well, it really should have its own holiday.
Well, it should.
I mean,
the carrots, onions, and broccoli.
Exactly.
I know, and it's funny because usually I pick a lot of seasonal because I know I can always get these. So
so we're just going to add a little bit of salt and pepper to the onions to get them going, and the garlic.
What kind of, do you do sea salt to cook?
I have started doing sea salt more than kosher salt lately, only because I have found a fine-grained sea salt, which dissolves quicker for me. I mean, I think I've said before, I always have the problem of not being patient enough for the sea salt to dissolve.
Yeah.
And it kind of found this on accident. It was just a fine grain, so it dissolves quicker. So you kind of, you get that flavor that you're looking for, that you can taste and see if you need more or less a lot quicker. Because you don't want to wait till the end to season anything. You always want to season every layer.
Okay.
So we have those going. So now we're just going to roast some carrots.
Roast away. Okay.
We have these nice carrots here we got at the farmer's market. Whatever carrots they have are fine. So we basically want a 2.5 to 3 cups of carrots.
Okay.
You know, if you have more than that, again, it's not an exact science with these recipes when you're using farmer's market ingredients. Sometimes they're going to be bigger, sometimes they're going to be smaller. When you're using things that are fresh, sometimes you're going to need more salt, less salt.
Yeah.
It really just depends. So really learn to taste your food as you go along.
Oh, that's no problem for me. I'm always putting a spoon. I have like 10, if I have guests over, I have a lot of spoons because I don't double dip, but there's always a spoon ready for me to taste.
Well, at least there's a spoon. You're not using your finger.
No, I used to. I grew up in a Greek family. We didn't know double dipping was bad. So, you know, God bless my family, but still.
Our family has a nickname of Livia chopsticks because we do use our fingers when we're around family.
Livia chopsticks, that's awesome.
That's kind of a family.
So you just cut them quarter to half inch, more like half. Okay.
If they're bigger carrots, you know, cut them down smaller. You just want to get them to roughly about the same size so that they cook in the same amount of time. And what we're going to do is just take these
on our little baking sheet and with some parchment paper because it makes cleanup a breeze.
It does. It's so easy. I love parchment paper.
That should be on their side.
It doesn't really matter because that way you can.
Gives me something to do.
And I actually like when things have a little bit of variance of doneness.
Okay.
Because then you can get a little bit of texture in your soup too.
So just a little bit of olive oil on them. You don't have to toss them. Just a little bit.
We'll do that right on here. I mean, if you want to dirty an extra bowl and toss it.
No, thank you.
But you know, who has time for that?
Yeah. We want to cook, eat, and enjoy our guests.
Exactly. So we're just going to do a nice, just toss right here on the thing.
And just a little salt and pepper.
And you want to roast these about 400, 425, depending on your oven, just so they get nice and browned and caramelized.
Because our carrots are going to take a little longer.
They will. They'll take probably about anywhere from 20 to 30 minutes, depending on how you cut your carrot. Obviously, the smaller you cut, the quicker they'll cook.
Well, and you, of course, being the pro you are, brought us some that are in the oven that I will grab because they look so beautiful. So here it's hot. Let me set it down. So
you can,
yum.
you know, some of them are a little more brown than others. They're all nice and soft.
Oh, they're perfect.
And what I like about roasting the carrots is that it's going to bring out your natural sweetness. So it's just an extra layer of flavor for your soup. If you want to just put the carrots right in without roasting, you could absolutely do that if you don't have the time.
No, I would take the time because those are yummy just as is.
Yeah. I mean, it's just anytime you roast a vegetable, it really brings out its natural sweetness.
Well, and I'll be honest with you, cooked carrots, not my favorite as a kid. But these I would eat as is, so in the soup they're going to be great. Because cooked carrots, you know,
Yeah.
old school used to boil them and they get mushy, forget it.
And they have no flavor.
Yeah,
and,
no, those just with salt and pepper, it's amazing. That really brings out.
And you can get them, you know, if you want them, the longer you let them cook, the softer they'll be and the more sweet they'll be.
Okay.
So if you want to let them get a little more going there. So now we just added that to our onions and garlic, and we're just going to add some veggie broth now, or chicken broth actually.
See, I thought it was a big thing of wine, but you don't disappoint, but still.
I'll bring that next time.
You know.
So we're just going to add this here. We added our chicken broth, and we're just going to cover this and let it simmer. Since the carrots are already cooked, you don't really need to let it go too long, maybe about 20, 25 minutes just to kind of get them simmered. And
perfect.
we can turn that on, and look how easy that was. Our soup's done.
Well,
Or it's
that was
cooking.
easy. Well, no, it was super easy. So now we have some beautiful bread for the harissa crouton. I love it. All right, crouton me.
Okay.
I got a bowl. I got
this,
some bread.
This is nice day-old bread I got at the farmer's market. Whatever they have. I mean, if you have sourdough, I mean, literally this is day-old bread, so it's... But you want that.
You want it for crouton.
You really do.
1, 2 day old.
And we're just going to kind of do... If you're doing appetizer, if you're planning on serving this as an appetizer, I would do smaller croutons so they fit in the cup. If you're going to have this in a nice big bowl, then, you know, by all means, do some nice good-sized croutons.
Yeah.
But we'll do a combo.
Croutons. I like them like that, bite size.
Yeah, and what I love about croutons is, and if you're gonna, you know, have this leftover bread, you can freeze these. And
freeze them after you cook them?
yeah, and they'll stay in your freezer for, just put them in a plastic bag, and it's great because then you always have, you know, cubes of cooked bread ready to.
Who doesn't love that? My sister
Ready to eat.
actually makes them, and she just keeps them out in a plastic bag. You know, for almost a week. They can
You
last.
can, yeah.
But
I mean,
like the freezer.
And it's a great way to use bread that you might otherwise throw out.
Yeah.
So even if you're not making soup and you have leftover bread, make some croutons. Throw them in your salad.
Great idea. No, I like croutons anywhere.
About half a loaf here, about a
Okay.
quarter of a loaf actually. Cut up. And now
And
to
I actually
these.
like croutons with like sourdough.
I do too.
I do too.
Because again, it's just another layer of flavor.
Yeah.
And this is actually sourdough bread.
I was going to say, it smells like sourdough.
We're just going to add some olive oil. Just enough to kind of coat. You don't want to saturate,
Yeah.
but you do want to get a nice coating on there. And we're going to add our,
Harissa. Hello, Harissa.
this is actually our za'atar.
Oh, that's right.
I'm just going to kind of toss
That's the
this in
harissa.
here.
See, I'm already confused. The za'atar.
And I like a decent amount. I'm not afraid of flavor here. And then we're going to add some salt.
And it makes it pretty because it's a little green.
And then it sits on the soup and the bread's toasted.
Oh, yeah.
And
No, croutons are awesome in soup. You do not need crackers.
that turns soup into a meal for me.
Totally.
All you need is some
Totally.
croutons and you're ready to go. So we're just going to kind of toss these up here.
Okay. Oh, yeah, you can already smell the spices.
And if you want, you can add a little more. It really is kind of how you like your food seasoned.
Okay.
Here.
And those are just going to go on a baking sheet as well.
So in the oven, you can even do this with your carrots at the same time if you want.
Oh, 2 different baking sheets?
There we
Or
go.
could you make half and half?
You could. You could make, because then the croutons could soak up some of the carrot flavor.
Oh, yum. That would
So you
be
really
awesome.
could. So we have these here ready to go.
Okay.
We can throw those in the oven.
And how long in the oven? And again, you brought us some already done, so we're going to swap them out.
Depending on your oven and how, you know, accurate its temperature is, anywhere from 15 to 20 minutes. Just keep an eye on them.
Okay.
Once they get browned, and what's nice about storing these in the freezer is that they'll when they thaw, they kind of reabsorb some of that moisture from the frozen, and you just get a really nice texture. I really do like freezing the croutons there.
Oh my gosh, they're beautiful.
Checking on our soup here. It's looking good.
It's looking very good.
And at the end, we can add, it's always nice to add some lemon juice in this at the end to kind of brighten it up.
Okay.
If you happen to have some, and then we'll add the harissa. And I like it spicy, so I'll put 2 to 3 tablespoons of the harissa in there. Different brands have different. Yeah. Different brands have different levels of heat, so just find one you like and use that. Put in the amount that you like.
We're going to finish the soup during break, but don't go anywhere because when we come back, we're going to tackle some broccoli and cheddar soup in a big bread bowl. You don't want to miss it. You're watching Community Cooking. Welcome back to Community Cooking. If you're just tuning in, I'm your host, Maria Prekeges, with my dear friend, Jeff LaVia, in the house. I love it. So we just finished blending during break the roasted carrot soup. And because I like a little spice and you do, you're going to add a little more of the harissa. Mm-hmm. I'm getting all my spices straight finally. It smells so good, by the way.
This is really good stuff.
And we took everything right before, during break, I should say, and we put it in the blender, blended it up, and look at how beautiful it is.
And just be careful when you blend. If you're blending something hot, keep your hand firmly on the top of it with a towel on top of the blender, so you don't end up with the ceiling covered in
roasted carrot soup. Yeah, that wouldn't be good. That wouldn't be good. I love it. All right.
So we just got that. Our carrot soup is pretty much done.
We're just going to let it keep warm on the burner. And now, talk about the ingredients for the broccoli cheddar God bless you soup, as I call it.
That pretty much is right.
Oh,
so it's a broccoli cheddar soup. We're going to do some onions, some carrots. We're going to make a roux to thicken it. We're going to add some half and half and some chicken broth. If you want to make this vegetarian, you can use veggie broth. If you want to make it extra indulgent, you can use heavy cream instead of half and half. If you want to make it a little healthier, you can also use milk, although I wouldn't recommend any low-fat milk because it's going to boil and there's a chance that your milk could break and curdle and ruin your soup.
So at least use the good heavy-duty milk.
Yeah, I mean, you're having a pound or something of broccoli, so
it's
a little cream is negotiable.
All right, so ingredients, and it's going to be in a bread bowl, and then after bread bowl, you take it.
Okay, well, we're going to start off by sauteing our onions and carrots together.
Onions and carrots, and again, you're going to blend it.
So they don't have to be perfect.
Okay. Do you want me to cut a few carrots for you?
Sure.
And do you just want them sliced?
You can dice them. You can slice them. The smaller they are, the quicker they'll cook. So it all just depends on how you like to do things. But the cut itself doesn't have to be perfect. They're not going to, see those. They will be blended.
That's why I'm cutting them. Much easier, because notice I was like, no, he's going to get the onion. You always do the onions, and I appreciate that.
I always seem to have onion on the show. I think
I know.
I am a fan of onion, but.
So is this just a regular yellow onion?
These are brown onions, actually.
Brown?
Yeah.
And then how many carrots do you want me to?
Just 2.
Oh, perfect.
We're going to start with the roux.
Okay.
And to do that, we are going to take some butter.
Just a little. Excellent.
Just a little,
and you've heated up your
heated up
pan.
the pot here.
We call that a big cazzarola in Greek. Isn't that a great name? My grandma used to go, get the cazzarola. I'm like, oh, there's something big coming out of the kitchen.
And good. Anytime you hear something like that, that's going to be good. We're going to add a little bit of olive oil to this as well.
There you are, my friend.
And once this gets dissolved, we are going to cook the onions and carrots in this.
All right. Since they were small, I'm doing a couple more slices from one.
Perfect.
And I didn't even dice them. They're going in the blender. We'll see how heavy duty your blender is.
It's pretty heavy duty there.
And they will cook a little. Okay, there are your carrots.
And this is just a really yummy soup here.
Yeah, there. You can grab
it. Has the benefits of the broccoli, but the indulgence of the cream.
I love it. And
so it's kind of a win-win.
I said earlier, I love soup year-round, and these vegetables you can get year-round as well, so it's easy.
And I mean, this is good on a summer night. You know, it's good on a winter night.
Well, and you mentioned earlier you can serve it different things as appetizers, different soups in little espresso cups and stuff.
That's
Love that.
really cute. And you know, you can pass those around at your party, and everyone's, oh, it's so cute.
I know, and they're like, oh, look. No, I love soup any time of the year.
We got those going. We're just going to add some salt and pepper to this to
Okay.
help the cooking process and help them break down a little bit. Salt has many purposes in your food.
Well, I know, it's not just to make things taste better.
Helps break down the carrots and release the onions too, and helps release all the
Okay.
water in there and start to break down the cells. So these just cook away here
Okay.
for a few minutes till they get tender.
And then, should we warm up our bread? So this is going to be my soup bowl. Just kidding. Just kidding.
I thought if you're gonna, have family over, this is like a big pot of soup on the table. It's just a
that's
big
great
bread bowl.
idea.
You know,
That's
Why
a great
not?
idea. Now, do we? We're going to serve it in this. Do you lop off the top and then put it in the oven, or?
we'll do that once it gets toasted. It's
Okay.
always easier to work with the bread once it kind of warms up a little
so
bit.
I will
So
stick
we'll just start with the small one and save that for later.
Oh, you're killing me. All right, I'm going to put this in the oven to get it all toasty brown.
And these are going here. We're going to add, as soon as these get a little bit more tender,
Okay.
we're going to add the flour. Again, we're making a roux to kind of help thicken it up and bind the half and half and the chicken broth together. A normal roux, you do 1 to 1. If you're doing a 1/4 cup of butter, you do a 1/4 cup of flour.
Okay.
We're not doing quite that. We're doing about 2 to 1, so about two parts more fat than flour.
Yay.
We don't want to be a thick, we don't
Yeah.
want porridge.
Yeah.
We want a nice soup, a nice velvety, creamy soup.
Oh,
It has a little bit of body. Not a lot, but just a little.
we love it. And I love, again, putting it in the blender later, so it's super easy.
So this is kind of nice and tender. It's going to cook, more in there, so you don't have to get it perfect. We're going to take 1/4 cup of all-purpose flour.
For the roux. The roux.
The-
That's another song, but you know,
I was going to go there.
we would. But it's a family show. Look at that. It smells so good.
So this thickens up. You're just cooking basically the raw flour flavor off. So get a little bit of color on it, maybe a minute or so.
Okay.
You could even go up to 5 minutes. The more intense the roux, you'll kind of have a deeper flavor.
I think the word roux used to scare me. Oh, you have to make a roux before you make gravy or this or that, and it gets lumpy, and it's not that tough, though.
I was the same way. When I first started cooking, roux was one of those things. I'm self-taught. I didn't go to school. So I didn't have a teacher explain to me how to, that a roux really isn't too hard. I mean, it's about whisking, having your ingredients go in. One thing to help with the roux is have your ingredients at least room temperature, your liquids, or warm.
Okay.
Because if you put something cold in here, it's going to stop the whole cooking process, and your roux will probably separate.
Oh, that's good to know.
So have your ingredients either room temperature or warm.
Okay.
And
Very cool. See, it's all these little great tips.
This is nice and coated there.
Okay.
We have some chicken broth. Again, you can use veggie
And
broth
a wine
if you want.
carafe, again, killing me. No.
Well, we had a lot of wine in our house. So.
And you put it, okay, a substantial amount.
And we're going to take our whisk here just to kind of incorporate that flour into the broth, the roux here. Whisk this up
Whisk away.
so it gets combined. And it won't, when you kind of do a normal roux, it'll thicken up very quickly. But because we're not doing the 1 to 1, we're doing slightly different. It's just slightly going to thicken up, not completely.
So if it doesn't thicken up like you would normally assume it would, don't panic.
Not at all. Okay, we're going to add our half and half. Could also do heavy cream.
Yeah. Why not?
Heavy cream makes it super indulgent and super good.
But everything in moderation.
Again, you're having a couple pounds of broccoli. So,
Well, yeah, you're not going to eat that whole bowl soup.
well, I mean,
Speak for yourself. Yeah.
if it's been a long day and a cold night.
Yeah, forget it. You're eating it all. I love it.
So this just simmers.
Okay.
Comes up to a nice simmer to where everything gets tender and slightly thickened, but not, again, completely done. And then we'll add the broccoli to it.
Okay.
and that'll get going.
And then we add the broccoli because that has to cook a little.
We want to get the broccoli tender.
Okay.
The thicker, the less tender your carrots and your broccoli are, the more of a textured soup you're going to have.
Okay.
Because the blender obviously won't break it down as much as if it's really nice and tender and soft.
Okay.
So that's kind of up to you. If you like a thicker soup.
You know, I like any type of soup if you're cooking it. Well, you hand me your cloth. I lost my pot holder. I'm going to get the bread out.
There you go.
And we can lop off the top. Oh, yeah, because that's a hot oven.
Look at that.
Boop. There we go. Hand off.
Okay, so we're going to, actually, we can probably add our
That's perfect.
broccoli
I was going to
to
say,
this
let's
at this
add it.
point.
I like a thicker soup, so what the hey. Look at that. And again, we're blending it so you don't have to chop your broccoli really.
And these are just broccoli florets.
Okay.
You took the head off the, get the broccoli crown and just take the florets off.
Or you can just buy the florets if you're lazy like me. Not lazy, I just,
That makes the cooking process go a lot quicker.
Speed up the process.
Since we added, we're using a lot of vegetables in these soup, you're going to need some salt. Don't be afraid to use salt here. Every time you add something.
You've taught me, you layer everything.
If you add, salt at the end or seasoning at the end, what you end up with is just, you get that salty flavor.
Yeah.
Because it hasn't had a chance to dissolve. It hasn't had a chance to blend with other flavors. And also what it does is you don't end up with very much depth. It tastes very flat.
Yeah. All right, so that's going to simmer. We're not adding the cheese till right before we devour it.
So we have our little bread bowls here,
Yes.
whether you're doing a mini or a grande. Yeah, let's see, just get it, a good hold on it there. And a bread
That's why
knife
you're
always
cutting
works
it.
well.
That's why you're cutting
And
it.
you can take about the top third of the, if that's 1, 2, so the top third off here.
It's a little crispy, which is perfect.
It's exactly what we want. So now we're left with our little lid, and we're left with all this gorgeous bread in here.
See, and when I was looking at the recipe before we started the show, it said, keep the bread, reserve it. I'm like, no, you pick it out and you eat it. But we'll keep it.
Well, because we're going to pick it out and we're going to eat it. We're going to dip it in our soup.
All right, well, while he's scooping out the bread bowl and saving the bread, we're going to take a quick break. We're going to blend our soup and taste everything when we get back. So don't go anywhere. You're watching Community Cooking. Welcome back. All right, Jeff, I have spoon in hand. I'm going in. Okay, with those croutons and all the spice. You don't know that's carrot soup.
You really don't. You can even add a little Greek yogurt to that if you want to.
Oh my gosh, now you're talking my language. And so for the broccoli, you blended it and then you added cheddar.
Stir it to let the cheddar melt down.
Okay, I can't decide. They're both so good, and the flavors. You're welcome back anytime.
Well, thank you.
Thank you for joining me. Your recipes, as always, are amazing.
Thank you. My pleasure.
On behalf of Jeff, myself, and the entire crew, thank you for watching. And remember, we really do have some of the best chefs right here in our own community. We'll see you next time on Community Cooking. Oh my God, this is so...
If you'd like a copy of the recipes seen on this show, send us a self-addressed stamped envelope to the Office of Cable and Community Relations. That's 3350 Civic Center Drive, Suite 200, in Torrance, California, 90503. Be sure to note the show number displayed on the screen. And don't forget, you can find all the fresh ingredients used on today's show at the Farmers Market. Visit the one here in Torrance at Wilson Park. That's located at 2200 Crenshaw Boulevard. They're open every Tuesday and Saturday from 8 a.m. until 1 p.m., rain or shine. And if you'd like to be a guest on our show, email us at communitycooking@torranceca.gov and check us out online at youtube.com/TorranceCityCable and like us on Facebook at Community Cooking TV.